Hi, this is Anna Popławska from Education Global speaking. Please let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, because that's kind of important for us today. Before I start my webinar, I can see that we already have some guests from Ukraine and Czech Republic, Slovakia. So my first question is, where are you from? Each time I'm so super excited to see so many of you coming for the webinar. I'm from Poland. Education Global is based in Poland, in Warsaw. So I'm very happy to greet all of you here. And let's see what other countries we have present today, because I already saw some beautiful places in the world. All right. So again, Czech Republic and Slovakia. Last time we had somewhere some people from Mexico, Macedonia. Okay. All right. Lots of beautiful places in the world. Belgium, Romania. Great that you are with us each time. I always ask this question because for me it's amazing that teachers around the world want to develop, want to learn with us. And again, Ukraine. I'm very happy to see so many Ukrainian people here. All right, great. I hope that you know. I hope that you know that today we are going to talk about 10 ideas for teaching listening skills. So I hope that the topic is all right with you, that you haven't, missed any other webinars. So that's the one. Okay, so let's start with the percentages in the beginning. Okay, I would like you to write in the chat box because that's the percentage of how much we speak and how much we listen every day. So guess 40% is listening or speaking, and 30% listening or speaking. In other words, what we do more of, we speak more or we listen more every single day. So, what do you think? What is the distribution here of English usage among the users every day? Because of course it comes from reports, so it's tested. Yeah, as you can see, lots of people write that 40%, yes, listening. Yeah, as Adnan says, we have to listen more, but and we speak more. 45% is listening, exactly, and just 30% is listening every day. And when you think about your classes, when you think about our English classes, the percentage is sometimes different. We really want our students to speak a lot. Lots of classes are developed to encourage students to speak. And this listening skill is very often treated as kind of Cinderella skill. David Noonan, very famous scientist in terms of language development, and he said that listening is treated by many language teachers as the Cinderella skill. Okay, so that's the skill which is kind of important, but somehow it has to be done by the way during the lesson, because there are so many important things we need to develop, we need to do, and we very often don't devote lots of time for teaching listening. Teachers become authoritative at times, and students talking time goes to 10 or 20%. That's a different story, of course, with teacher talking time, but I will just move to our presentation, because today I have 10 slides, 10 points to talk about, around 60 slides. I know that I speak a lot and I talk very fast, so I want to cover all of the points I want to do with you. Okay, so point number one, when I think about teaching listening, is use authentic materials from the very beginning. Don't wait with authentic materials when your students are advanced or upper intermediate, when you can show them this real world. Try to keep using authentic materials even when they are very at the very beginning stage of their career. And there are websites which can help you. One website that I'm going to show you in a second is called allo.org. Please bear in mind that in allo.org, I will paste you all of the links in the chat box. You will find them, all of them, in the email that we are going to send you tomorrow. So you can write them down, but don't worry, we will send you the links. Okay. So the first one is allo.org. I'm going to show you why it's so great and why I love it so much. Um, Milenka can see just black screen. So Milenka, try to change the browser, because it's the browser, because I think that everyone else sees the screen, so probably that's your computer. Okay, so that's the allo.org. Okay, so that's the that's the website. On this website you will see lots of advertisements. I was buying today a swimming suit for my holiday, so probably today during this webinar you are going to see lots of swimming suits in all of the advertisements all around this webinar. But let's go back to the webinar. All right, so on allo.org, free L, remember it's not allo with the double L, you can see different levels. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of high levels on allo.org. I prefer different types of materials for my more advanced students. But beginner, here recordings are really, really great. Why I like it? And why I keep using it. Very often they have recordings of non-native speakers of English. So you can see people from different countries talking in English. Of course, if you want to find someone who speaks English and is a native speaker, because you want just a native speaker, I'll just play it for a second so you can see the.
So Meg, what do you like to do in your free time?
So here you have very, very easy materials. You also have the script of all of the conversations. You have vocabulary explained, and you have quizzes for the listening materials. And the conversations here are really, really abundant, I would say. So there are hundreds of recordings on this website, so you can find everything you can find. I can see that here we have some questions about C1. I will show you then. It's not on my presentation, but in case of C1 levels, that's TED.com. Okay, so allow was for very, very low levels. In case of higher levels, we have TED.com. So on another scale, TED is a wonderful website with really, really great presentations, especially when you visit the bookmark. I think most common TED talks. They are totally interesting. They are very, very interesting, and all of my students absolutely love it. You have transcripts for each of the videos. Absolutely recommended. I can see that you were asking about the presentation and the link to the previous one. That's allo.org. So that's the very basic one. Of course, they have higher levels, but I'm not such a fan of the higher levels on allo.org. With higher levels of students, I prefer the TED presentations that you can see the link in the slide. It's absolutely fun. If you haven't used TED, you will fall in love. I've been using TED for at least 10 years now, and it's absolutely brilliant. They keep developing. It's totally for free. Also, I will have different suggestions for C1 students to stay till the end, because there are lots of ideas today. Okay, so hello, with lower levels, you can have different accents, which is also great. I also play different accents to my students, because sometimes teachers are afraid, oh my God, they are going to listen to some non-native speakers talking in English with this wrong accents, with not really good pronunciation. I also use this kind of videos and this kind of English, because when students travel, and very often when they talk to different people in English, they won't encounter each time this beautiful RP pronunciation without any mistakes, with this beautiful pronunciation. So I try to make them kind of feel normal when they travel, when they go on holidays, and when they talk to people of different nationalities, because I also think it's a skill you need to develop with your students. Another website where you have different levels of the same piece of news is News in Levels. I'm going also to show you that. First of all, I'm going to paste it in the chat box so you can access it right now. And now I'm going to access it. So I hope that you see that in my presentation right now. I will just accept all of the cookies. And here, let's say we want to listen to the news about California and Alabama. Here they have the same piece of news. As you can see here, you can
Heavy rainstorms hit California.
and you have three levels on which they listen the news. So you can start with the easiest part and you can go to more and more advanced vocabulary used to describe the same piece of news. So that's really, really nice. And I like talking and I like discussing news with my students. Very often when I start classes, I have this rule, especially with students, with adults on higher levels, that I don't like to talking. I don't like talking about their weekends, if you know what I mean. So I try to avoid the questions like, "Oh, what were you doing?" At during the weekend, because basically when I see them every week, very often they do at the weekends the same things. So it's for me it's a quite redundant topic to talk about. But I ask them instead about an interesting piece of news that they've heard or they read online or anywhere, and we just discuss it. So with higher levels, I always recommend them to listen. And now one more link that is not in the presentation is called 1 minute world news. That's something that I do with again higher level students. So probably I also paste the link. I will show you. Yeah, that's the link. So because I know that someone asked, because now it's on the top of my head, the link. I'll tell you what it is. So BBC every day publishes 1 minute video with kind of information from around the world in a nutshell. So your students, when they are on C1 level, can listen to it and they can report what they listen to. I remember when I was at a university and we had this really wonderful teacher of pronunciation, and we had to transcribe all of the 1 minute world news for each lesson with her. So we had to listen for 1 minute and we had to transcribe everything, which was quite difficult in the beginning. But still, I don't ask my students to transcribe it. I ask my students to watch it. Sometimes they need to rewatch it many, many times, or if they have problems with understanding what's happening in the BBC news, they can just check in different sources the piece of information that they can see in the pictures, but they are not really sure what it's all about, because of course they are the main events from around the world. So you can use it and you can extend this activity to a much broader one. And I really, really appreciate that one. Also, I love using smart internet materials, which are totally ready to be used by teachers for listening. In other words, what I want to say is that I don't like using listening materials just for the sake of listening. I mean, we just listen, we talk what we listen to, and we just move on. Because there are really great internet sources where you have lots, and they're for free. Basically, all of the things I'm going to show you today are for free. So Listen a Minute is a really, really great source of activities, and I'm going to paste you and I'm going to share my screen with you in a second. So you're going to see this website and link for the chat. And now let's share it. The website looks very, very ugly, to be honest, and it hasn't changed. I mean, since probably I don't know. It hasn't changed, I think, for the last 20 years because I've been using it like forever. It's very simple, let's say, in the arrangement, but I love what is inside because also for lower levels, you have all of the topics of the whole world, also lots of advertisements everywhere, but the website is for free. But here you can download beautiful materials. So for each material, you can basically have all of the activities in PDF format, so you can just download them. And there are lots of activities that you can do online and also just watch the advertisements. Okay, so you have gap filling, you have a question asking, you have activities for speaking, lots of different things. Of course, everything is built around listening material, which is in the beginning, okay, of the material. So that's really, really great, and I really, really like it. So it's totally full of ideas for listening, but in a second I'm going to show you older sister of Listen a Minute, because in Listen a Minute, all of the recordings are 1 minute long max. So you have hundreds of topics that you can download for free. Everything is recorded, and when you listen, when you look at it closer, you will also have lots of different links. So you don't have to use the internet version. So if you want the PDF, of course, you can just keep downloading the materials for free. I use it. I can see that you really like it. So you like older sister of Listen a Minute in a second. All right. So good that you're here today. So that was Listen a Minute with all of the and the gap filling. I really like the gap filling activities because it's a kind of activity that I really enjoy with my students when they have to listen for the detail, and I really, really enjoy it. Okay, so and another activity that I love using with my students when I want to enhance their listening skills is dictation. Very old-fashioned activity, which is kind of maybe not neglected by teachers, because it's not neglected, but teachers stopped using it. I have impression that we don't use dictations any longer, and I really like using short text even with my lower level students. I like dictating them sentences, even from the textbook that we have, or a story that I want them to listen to, and they write it. They can be very, very simple. Also with children, very often we have running dictation where they can, for example, read the text to their peers or to their partner. So they have to listen to the dictation sentence by sentence. So we have two students, okay? So one student has a text and second student has a piece of paper and a pen. So this one student comes, listen to one sentence or two, depending on the memory, and goes back and writes down what he or she listened and goes back for more. So it's really, really cool and a very, very nice activity when students, that's very popular with teenagers and students, when you have to dictate a story, listen to a story, run and write it down. But also with adults, I really like using this website, and that's the older sister of Listen a Minute. If you liked Listen a Minute, you will fall in love with breakingnewsenglish.com. Breakingnewsenglish.com, that's the website which I think was using when I was teaching, when I was at university. It's one of the first websites that I think I started using a long time ago. So it's basically very old-fashioned, but still free, lots of advertisements. All right. So again, and lots of advertisements, but here you have basically they keep updating it really every week. So if you want to have something about Prince Harry, so you can also have it. Of course, lots of advertisements again, but you don't have to use it online with your students. And here you have everything for free. So you can print either 27-page lesson exercises. And here, as you can see, I will just check. Yes, you can see what you can. You can download it, everything for free. So you have the text, which will be listened to, right? You have warm-ups, you have British Royals, what I know, what I want to know. You have all of the topic activities to talk about Prince and the book and controversy and so on. Lots of matching activities, true, false before listening, and synonym match and phrase match and gap fill, and then finally listening, right? So you have the listening one, and then listening gaps, listening questions. Of course, you don't have to do all of them, right? Because sometimes your students can go crazy, but you have role plays, and you have word search, and you have surveys and discussions and lots of things, really putting words in order, certain the correct word and so on. So inserting the vowels, and I'm just in the and free writing and vocabulary activities. So it's plenty of it, total plenty of it. But Of course, I wanted to talk about listening. So let's go back to this website, because I just pressed this button, 27 page lesson plan. You also have a page 2 mini lesson. So when you click this website, you maybe the website, this link, this let's say materials looks like that. All right. So they are really more concise. Printer friendly, and the most I would say best-selling activities, the most popular activities are here. So you have the listening, and here you have listen. You can decide which accents you want to listen to, and you also have the pace, whether it's slower or medium and or faster, whether it's American accent or British English accent. So you can decide which accent you want to use with your students. I really appreciate this function here. And going back to our activities, so here we have reading activities. They here all of the say all of the links here, they are activities that you've already seen in the PDF version, they are online version. And you also have the gap fill here, where you can basically you can do all of the activities online. If you teach online, I always open two windows. In one window, I play the listening, so the one that you've seen just before, and here students complete the gaps. Okay, so you can do this exercise also for gap filling, but I will show you my favorite, absolutely my favorite activity, which is called No Letters. You can play the whole video, the whole
Prince Harry's book.
and here, students, when they write a word, it appears in the box. Okay, so they can write from the. I mean, just listen and write. I really like this kind of dictation. It works very nice as homework, but also when you teach online, it's really, really nice activity when your students have to listen and they have to type what they hear. So absolutely nice activity. And I think this website is the most extensive one in terms of teaching B1, B2 students. With very beginner students, not really, but with a little bit above beginners, it starts to be really, really interesting and very, very extensive. So I hope that you will like it. Okay, so here are all of the activities that you can do online. When you use the print version, you can print out all of the things with beautiful exercises, gap filling, and no letter exercises that I love the most, I think, on this website. Another thing that I wanted to show you is called ESL Lab, Randall's ESL Lab. And I just keep saying I absolutely love this website, because it's so rich in different listening materials with activities. So I will just paste it and you are going to see it. So here we have listening activities, and you have easy, intermediate, difficult, interviews, academic listening, language games, lots of it. Okay, so when you go to difficult, someone asks about C1 level and so on. Here, the best thing is you have different topics. So you have job hunting, dating problems, diet plan, travel arrangements, anything you can really think of, gardening shop, hair loss problem, home repairs. So basically, when you choose a topic, you have, of course, summary of it, and again, pre-listening exercises, some idioms that are interesting in the listening. You can listen to the text, and then you have questions to the listening. Plus, you have listening script, which is really fantastic, and post-listening exercises. So the lesson is totally prepared. And of course, it's for free. The ESL Lab has been on the market for, I think, at least 15 years. It looked really awful in the past, so they changed the design of the website, but still for free. I know there are some parts that you can purchase something, but to be honest, I've never bought anything on this website, and all of the, I think, best activities are totally for free. All of the sections with listening, they are very nice. I think that they are building some learning or teaching platform there, but the stuff that I'm showing you is totally for free. So totally worth recommending. So when you teach listening, remember to use video a lot, because video is the sound plus all of the gestures, all of the context that your students can have. And for using video, I also have some recommendations. The first website that I wanted to tell you is edpuzzle.com. In Edpuzzle, also for free, you can create assignments, video assignments, from your videos or YouTube videos, where you paste a link of the YouTube film, and you can put the dots, the black dots that you can see. So you mark where the question is asked. So you write the question, the video stops in the right moment, and your student has to answer the question. If he or she makes a mistake, so the video rewinds 20 seconds where the answer was revealed, and it stops again till the student answers the question. So it's my favorite tool for creating video listening activities, and it's also for free, so I absolutely recommend it. There are also lots of different ready made materials by different teachers, so you can browse the library and you just can copy someone's video, so you don't even have to create it by yourself. My students love using it because they listen here a lot, and when the question is asked, they basically know when they have to focus, when they didn't understand something, they know where they can rewind and what they have to watch again. So it's really handy and is very, very nice. So lots of different things with friends and different things. When we were with the topic of friends, the thing that I love doing with videos that we watch with my students during the classes is a technique called stop and predict. So when we watch a video, so with subtitles or not, I stop it and I ask my students, okay, so what do you think is going to happen next? Okay, so try to predict what's going to be said by the speakers, or what's going to happen. A very nice video for that is Mr. Beans. He always does lots of stupid things, and of course, stupid things and the least predictable are the best to talk about during the class. So especially for present continuous tense or future tenses here, what is he going to do? I really like this technique of stopping and predicting what's going to happen. Another technique is called silent watching, when you watch a video without the sound. Okay, so in the beginning, students just watch a piece of video, and they have to predict what's happening. So it's a very nice way of also of activating schemata with your students. So that's activity that you always do before proper listening. So remember also about this technique. And I'm going to, because I think I lost one. Yeah, I lost one here. Silent watching, because that was silent watching, but also there should be just sound watching. Okay, because with silent watching we watch it without the sound, but we can also watch a video or listen to a video without the video. So I wanted to show you that. Nearpod is very similar, exactly. Because I can, Sylvia, I will just share your comment. It's exactly the same. Yes, if you use Nearpod, that's the same functionality. If you want something which is standalone, apart from video, it's perfect. Yes, a very good comment. So now I'm going to play you a video, okay, and you're going just to hear the sound. Okay, so I will just play it, but I need to share it and I need to hide it. Okay, so I will just do it as I do with my students, because very often I just do like that. So I just play it and I'm going to hide. Okay, just a second.
People just didn't seem to like. Maybe I was too intense. Maybe I came on too strong.
So who do you think was speaking? Okay. So who do you think was speaking? What was happening? Because normally, yeah, I would explain to my students the activity beforehand. Okay, so there are lots of different sounds. So before my students really see the video, before my students really watch it, they need to listen to it. So they need to try to predict what's happening. There is some shouts, so there is some different noises. They have to guess who the speaker is, what he's doing, or is he happy, is he sad, what's happening. So this video is really, really nice for silent watching or watching without sound. And here is the link to the video, so you will be able to watch it. And I just recalled that I know a very nice lesson plan with this video. I'm going to find it in a second, because Jamie Keddy some time ago published a very nice, I found it. On this website you can find, okay, in a second I'm going to find the link. Okay, maybe I will just paste it here. So here on this website you can find Mr. W lesson plan. So here lesson stream, a very, very old website with lots of lesson plans. I really like them, and one of the lesson is called Mr. W. Most of them are based also on listening activities, and when you look for Mr. W, it will be there. It's a really old lesson and very, very, very interesting. So now maybe I want to just go through all of the lesson plans on this website, but you can have a look. They are very, very nice. Okay, so it was called Mr. W. When we talk about videos, one of my favorite techniques also when I do with my students is 50-50. So when we watch a video and when we listen to a video, I want them to so half of the class watches the video and half of the class doesn't see what's happening, and then they have to retell what they listened to or what they saw. Okay, so that depending whether you teach online or not, when you divide them in the breakout rooms and they use headphones. But if you don't have headphones, very often I use this technique with the videos without sound, I mean without words, so they don't need to hear any of the words. So there's just the nature sounds, for example. So there are lots of videos of this type, and the listening comes from the student which sits opposite and sees the screen and tells you what's happening on the screen. So I really like this activity because students then need to really listen to one another. They need to watch the video, and they need to keep reporting what's happening on this screen to the student. Then we change roles, and the person who was the listener now is the speaker. So he continues or she continues to listen, to watch the story and retells the story to the partner. So that's also a different kind of activity for listening, because remember, teachers and materials that we play from the computer, from the internet, aren't the only source of language in the class. So you can also engage your students in listening to one another. And this is a very, very nice activity for making students really listen more. Another activity that I really love, and of course it comes with a very nice website, are songs, because songs, of course, are a very, very nice source of language in our class. And of course there is a very nice app for that, which is called lyricstraining.com. And my question is, have you ever looked at lyricstraining.com? I will paste the link for you in the chat box. Okay, so lyricstraining.com. No matter what language you speak and you teach, there are songs in different, totally different languages. And the website, when you access it from the computer, is for free. So they haven't introduced any payments. If you download their application on the mobile phone, students can access 2 songs per day for free. So I learn Italian and I listen to Italian songs, and I'm able to play on my mobile phone 2 songs per day for free, which is enough, to be honest. So I don't need to pay. And why lyrics training is so amazing. So let's say that I choose a song. So here with the colors, you have indications of the level. So green is easy, orange is quite difficult, and red is difficult. So I will choose the green one. And here you decide on the amount of words which are taken. I mean, the gaps basically in the song. And you have your song. I need to wait when he starts singing. I found. Okay. So when you hear, you can start typing basically.
I found a love for me. Darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead.
And that's what happens. If you haven't understood, you can press backspace.
Darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead.
Press backspace, and when you still don't know, you press tab button.
Darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead.
It very, very nice. I really recommend it. Another thing that I like using with my students, maybe not using because that's something that I recommend my students start doing, are podcasts and applications which make them listen and practice their extensive listening skills. Because what I can do in a class, so I can develop intensive listening skills, but extensive ones, which are the longer ones where you listen for pleasure, you have to develop on your own. So I can show them podcasts and applications that they can install on their phones, and they can listen very often for free. So of course, Spotify for me is the king of podcasts, not just music, because of course when I work out, I listen to music from Spotify, but also podcast is the home of many podcasts, and you can listen for free, of course with ads, if you want to listen for free. And my favorite podcast favorite podcasts of my students are 6 Minute English. So you have very nice conversations about English in 6 minutes. The English we speak, for example, also very nice. So you have conversations between speakers on how to use some words, how to use some of the phrases. I have very similar podcasts about Italian. So they talk about gestures, they talk about how people greet one another. It's very interesting. So it's in English, about English. So I really recommend it. Of course, there is a podcast called 6 Minutes Grammar. So it's really nice because they just basically explain you grammar in 6 minutes. The English we speak, so the one that I've already showed you, and the TEDs that I already told you beforehand, they also have their own podcast. So your students, when they are on higher levels, are totally very nice to listen to. Oh, thank you very much, Adnan, for such wonderful words about this session. So lots of different. Oh, that's my Italian. Sorry. Coffee break Italian. I love it. It's very easy about coffee break German. So if you learn German, you can also practice it. You have podcasts by really famous people like Michelle Obama podcast, or this one is brilliant. Real Life English. I really like it. And Real Life English is really nice and funny podcast. I also listen to financial podcasts, for example, the Wall Street Lab and How Money Works. This is available on iPhones because it's this Apple Podcast application. But I also listen to it for my English because I'm an English teacher. I graduated from university with English, and no one taught me about money, no one taught me about business. Very often I teach now mainly in business, so I needed also to basically brush up my vocabulary. I mean, even not brush up, but just basically learn it. So I also used the podcast to just learn by myself all of the thing. And the Economist podcasts are really, really amazing. I really like using them. But if you like some of the actors, very often they also have a podcast. So Alec Baldwin also has his accent, because sometimes we like listening to some people. Like, for example, I'm a huge fan of Prince Harry speaking in English. I know that the things that that he says are basically something that probably I'm not that interested, but the pronunciation is so excellent that I, of course, listening to his audiobook. By the way, do you know that you can listen to this audiobook for free when you open your free account on Amazon? And then you have 30 days for free, basically. So I haven't paid for this book, but I have to remember to disconnect from the application after 30 days, because then you have to pay it. Do you have any recommendations for English proficiency listening tests, such as IELTS or TOEFL? With exam listenings, they are kind of different. Basically, when you teach your students for exams, they have to listen as much as possible. So podcasts, the ones that I'm showing you, are the best. But listening during exams consists of two things, basically listening skills and test skills. So I think that I would also use book listenings for the tests to teach my students techniques, how to approach certain types of activities. So there are two things that I would work on: pronunciation in listening, proficiency in listening, sorry, and also test skills. So I would use both things. And let's move on. Oh, and that's the one that I wanted to totally recommend you. Luke's English podcast, absolutely amazing. And Luke also has a website. When you just type it in the browser, it's called Luke's English Podcast. So I was doing this one with my students: 50 random British facts, true or false, about Great Britain. So they had to answer the questions. And Luke very often talks to his dad, who is also English, and they discuss different things. Totally hilarious, totally interesting. And most of, I think 90% of the content is for free, so you don't need to buy anything. So I really, really like it, and I totally recommend it. And the last tip that I wanted to share with you is use the transcript. I mean, don't be afraid to use the text at the end of the book. There are lots of things you can do. So, for example, you can give your student just the beginning of the recording when they, for example, in a situation that they haven't understood anything. So you can just give them the beginning to read, or ask them to read the first 5 lines of the listening. So then they'll read 5 lines, and we keep listening, but they have to keep listening without the rest of the text. They can put in order the transcript that you have at the end. You can make some gaps in the listening, or you can cut the transcript and give different people different pieces of the text that your students listen to. So remember, your listening and the transcript is something that can be very, very useful, and it can be very handy when you teach English and your students have problems with listening, because there is nothing worse than your students tell you, like, oh my God, I don't understand a single word. What the hell are they talking about? So I always have some kind of techniques, what I can do when my students tell me that they don't have a bloody idea what the text was about. So then I have this transcript somewhere that I can access it and help my students understand what they basically listen to. So there are different also applications that we can use to create activities, but I think I'm going to prepare another great teacher training session for you and show you how I would create them, because it's getting quite late and I know that I can just keep talking for hours about such things, but I hope that you liked it. Edith is asking about the Italian app. It's called 6 Minute Coffee Break Italian. Sorry, Coffee Break Italian. That was the one that I wanted to share with you. All right, guys. So basically, that's all. Okay, so basically that's it. I hope that you liked it. So now you can share your thoughts, how you enjoyed the webinar with Anna from Education Global. I'm very happy that you are here. I can see that we have lots of people today watching me. I have one thing to ask you about. If you really liked it, okay. So I just wait and just okay, because I love listening. I love reading when you are so satisfied and when you like it. Okay, so remember that we have lots of free teacher content that we around every 2 weeks we try to meet you. Why is it for free? Because we are developing a teacher network around the world right now. In Poland, we are one of the biggest companies which trains teachers, and we've been teaching in Poland for free for around 8 years now. So it doesn't mean that it's free now and in the future you'll have to pay, so don't worry about that. But in Poland, it's been free every Tuesday for like 8 last years. Globally, we hope to keep it for free every second Thursday. So for sure, we are going to come with more. I have one thing to ask you about, okay? If you want to kind of return the favor, in the chat box, now I pasted a Google Docs document with survey because we would like to get you know better, okay? We would like to know who you are because I know that you are from different countries all around the world. If you find a second just to click it and answer, I think, 6 questions that we wanted to ask you, it will help us better prepare our offer, better prepare our courses, because I hope that you know that we also sell courses. So you can find them on edunation.global. So there are also my courses as well, because I also recorded some of them. But such meetings on Thursdays will be for free. Because I totally believe that in order to have a business with teachers, basically you have to help the teachers. So we are going to host free teacher sessions. If you want to train with us, tell your friends. Yes, that's the thing I wanted to tell you. Tell your friends that Education Global is great, and they have to sign up for next webinars, and they have to follow us on Facebook or Instagram. I will appear there more because there are so many things to do in Poland, but still tell them to sign up for more, okay? And tell them that they need to sign up because Education Global is great. Okay, so please remember about the survey. Okay, it's again on the chat box. I hope that you like the ideas. I hope that you're going to come for more. Have a good night, everyone. I'm going to have one at least in a second. All right. Thank you very much and see you. Bye-bye.